Factoring by grouping using the box strategy. Recall when we multiply polynomials, like two binomials, we could use a variety of strategies. We could use FOIL, double distributive, or the box, but we would probably first start by getting a polynomial that looks like this, and we would combine like terms, and 2x squared minus 1x minus 21 would be our product. So what we want to do is consider going backwards, but not from the trinomial, going backwards from the polynomial with 4 terms. And so to factor the polynomial, we would start with the box. The quadratic term would go in the top left, and the constant term in the bottom right. And then after multiplying those numbers together and looking for factors, we would come up with negative 7x and positive 6x, but we can just put these terms along the diagonal. Now across the top, let's factor out the common term of an x. And above the 2x squared, x times what equals 2x squared? 2x. Above the negative 7x box would be a negative 7. Now in the bottom corner, 2x times 3 would be 6x. And double check that negative 7 times 3 equals negative 21, and it does, so we have factored this polynomial. So our objective is going to be to take a polynomial with 4 terms. We're going to use the box strategy to factor it. So here's our first example. We'll put the quadratic term in the top left spot, and let's put 14y down here. Sometimes you have to play around with the placements. We can put 7x in the top right and 4xy down here. What factors out of the top row is x, and we'd have 2x up above, and we'd have 7. Down below we'd have 2y. So we've factored this polynomial into 2x plus 7 times x plus 2y. Now the next example. It's not written in standard form. If it were in standard form, the negative 8y cubed, right, the term with the highest exponent would come first, so we'll put it here. The constant term would come last. And then you can put the remaining terms in any order along the diagonal. Factor out of the top row what you see they have in common. Make sure you pull out the greatest common factor. Above the negative 8y cubed should be negative 8y. Above 3y squared will be the number 3. To the left of negative 8y is the number 1. So we have factored the given polynomial into y squared plus 1 times negative 8y plus 3. Next example. The first thing I notice before I put these terms into the box graphic organizer, I do notice that there is a common factor. All terms have 5, that is a common factor, and an a squared. So let's factor out that greatest common factor of 5a squared. Now what we'll do is we'll take the 4 terms that are in the parentheses and organize those terms into the box. And I'll put 9ab here and negative 1 here, and the other 2 terms just in any order. Let's factor out of the top row what they have in common. They have a 3 and an a in common, and let's complete the box. Now that I've done that, I don't want to forget about the 5a squared that I had identified earlier as the greatest common factor. I'm going to multiply that GCF by these factors along the edges of the box. 3a plus 1 times 3b minus 1. And example 4. Is there a greatest common factor that I can take out? That's an important first thing to look at. No, I don't see a number or a variable term that they all have in common. So let's just start right away by putting the term with the greatest degree in the top left spot. There is a constant term, we can put it down there, and put the other 2 terms in any order on the diagonal. What can we factor out of the top? Well, a 3a. And let's finish the rest of the box, and then we can write our factored form. So 3a times ab is 3a squared b. 3a times negative 6 is negative 18a. ab times negative 5 is negative 5ab. Double check that negative 5 times negative 6 equals 30, my constant term, and it does. So the factored form is 3a minus 5 times ab minus 6. Now we've got one for you to try, so you can put the video on pause. You can give this particular problem a try using the box strategy. When you're ready, check to see how accurate you were. Okay, so this one here, we'd put our term with the greatest degree in this slot. I'll put the 8z down here, and I'll just place the other two terms in this order. Now let's see if we matched. Along the top, we can factor out a y. Y times 3y is 3y squared. Y times 4 is 4y. 3y times 2z is 6yz. Double check that 2z times 4 is 8z, and it is. So my factored form of this polynomial is 3y plus 4 times y plus 2z.